Hi, welcome to the podcast. It's your dream, live it. I am your host, Makita Benjamin. In this podcast, we talk about inspiration and tips for your life from a biblical perspective. So, sit back, relax with me, open your mind, and be ready to receive inspiration for your life. Let's get into it. All right, today's topic is seeds of kindness. We definitely need more of this in the world today. Our scripture for today is from Galatians 6, 9 to 10. I'm going to read the New International Version. Let us not be weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. Therefore, as we have opportunity, let us do good to all people, especially to those who belong to the family of believers. This is a wonderful set of verses in Galatians. Let us not be weary in doing good. Sometimes that is a hard pill to swallow, because it's not all the time that when we do good that is reciprocated or that people even appreciate it. But that is within who we are, and because people might not treat us well, or we may think that people take advantage of our kindness, we should not stop being good, because that is within your nature. And that is what we're called to do. We're called to be kind to one another as well. You're going to meet some good people, you're going to meet some bad people. That's just how things are. But don't change yourself just because some people are not very nice. And as the verse says, in the proper time, you will reap a harvest if you do not give up. It also goes with our nature, where we want things now. We don't want to wait. But when you plant a seed, it takes a while to grow. And that's what we're talking about here, seeds of kindness. Thus, you keep being kind, you keep doing what you know you need to do, and in the proper time, you will reap a harvest. And sometimes it is tiring. Right now, let me tell you, I am tired. It is after 10 o'clock at night, but I have promised myself that I'm going to do this. I'm going to be doing my podcast, and I am here doing it. I am here showing up. And no, it may not be perfect, but it is getting done. It is getting done, and I hope that it will still reach someone that will benefit from it and that will be encouraged with it. So let me tell you, I have a couple of stories to tell you about sowing seeds of kindness. First of all, if you've watched some of my other videos, maybe you saw that I was sick for a really long time. And I made a very vulnerable video about that, where I was even crying. I was in pain, I was crying, and I made a very vulnerable video. And I did it just to show people that I think sometimes we hold things in so much, or we try to hide from the world. And sometimes we just need to show people that we're human, so that other people can feel a little bit more comfortable to share or to say that they need help. So I shared this video about me not feeling well, and this lady I haven't spoken to in over 20 years, we went to church together when I was in the Virgin Islands, and she got diagnosed with a sickness. And she reached out to me after seeing my video and wanted me to call her. And I called her, and she reminded me that I wrote a scripture verse to her. The verse was about that this sickness is not unto death, but for the glory of God. And I barely even remember doing that. Like, it's a faint memory. It's a faint memory in my mind. And she said she still has the note, and she was just so encouraged by that. And of course, things aren't perfect with her now, but she has gone through and she has survived a lot. And that just, it touched my heart, first of all, that she kept that note for so long. And it just amazed me at God that, because I was only a teenager when I wrote this note to this lady. And I'm just so grateful that God used me to encourage her. And there's a lot of times that we do little things like that, and you never know how much it's gonna bless somebody. And then look at that. She just came back around when I was feeling one of my worst. And she came back around and sewed back into me with her kindness. And that's just beautiful. So sometimes we're sowing kindness for other people, and you never know when you're gonna reap that back. But it will always come back to us. That's why you reap what you sow. So you might as well sow kindness. Additionally, me and one of my other friends, we teach liturgical dance at our church. And we've taught girls from 5 years old to 16 years old. And at one point we had maybe 12 or 13 girls in our dance group. It was really very hectic and very challenging, but honestly it was also very rewarding, because during practice it was a mess. The girls wanted to talk or play, or they had drama with one another, and it was really crazy. But when it was time for them to dance, they really just surprised me and did so well. And that was a real blessing. But the moral of that story is that we sewed a lot into those girls. Besides teaching them praise dance, we just sewed into them, talking to them about life and boys and everything. We sewed into their life. And some of them, we don't have communication with them right now. Some of them have gone on to college. A lot of them are women now. They're literally women now. And they're off doing their own thing. But I can assure you that somewhere deep down, that something that we've done means something to them, and that one day they're gonna look back at that and they're gonna remember something that we said, and it's gonna help them in their life. So I hold on to that. I hold on to that thought, that promise, that hope, that those seeds that we planted, they did not fall on a bad ground, but that they fell on good ground, and that those girls really are going to utilize what we poured into them somewhere in their life. So I truly believe that. And some of our seeds, we will never see the growth. We may not see the growth in this life until we pass on and move on. And then I picture God playing a video of our life, or a video of the things that we've done. And then we'll see the fruits of our labor. But some things we really are not going to know in this life. But I have hope that just how I planted that seed over 20 years ago that I didn't even remember I planted, I know that the seeds that I planted with those girls, that it will bear fruit. Thus, the seeds that you're planting, don't think that it's in vain, because it's not. It's not in vain. Whenever you do good, it's never in vain. So I'm just encouraging you to keep doing good. There's this new young lady that's coming to my church, and I asked her, hey, how did you find out about the church? And she said when she was little, she came to the church for a program. And now that she's older, she came back to the church and she's really involved. So look at that. I don't know who was there when she was there and who made her have a good time and have a good experience of being at church. But what a blessing that years later, now that she's a young woman, she came back to those roots and now she's contributing to this church, right? So the person that probably poured into her, they might not even be at the church anymore, but they sowed a seed, and that seed has now sprung forth, and now she is coming and she's going to be sowing seeds into this same church, which I know that that's going to happen. Thus, do not be afraid of doing good. All right, then we're going to go into our next segment, which is our inspirational song. Okay, let me tell you. If you listen to the podcast right before this one, I made up a lovely song that pertained to that particular episode. This one, I was trying to do the same thing. I was not getting the proper download of a song. And I was trying to think of a song that related to the seeds of kindness. But the only song I could think about was the India Arie song, Let's Hope, and my light is falling. Okay, let's back up. That's the only song I could think about, but I already sang that song in my first season of my podcast. So it wasn't relevant for this podcast anymore. And if you know a song, in fact, all of the different podcasts that I have, if you know a song that you think, wow, this really goes along with the message that I'm speaking, then let me know. But for this episode, I did go on YouTube and I found a song that really is very relevant to this. It is Seeds of Kindness by Virtual Harmony. So you can check that out and you can listen to it. Normally I'm singing, as you know, in this inspirational song section, but I don't know that song that well. I just found the song and I don't know it well enough to sing it. So I would encourage you to just go and listen to that song, Seeds of Kindness by Virtual Harmony. I was going to try and read the lyrics out to you as well, but the lyrics I can't find the lyrics typed anywhere, so I would have had to screenshot the YouTube and all that different stuff. So I wasn't doing that. So you can go and you can listen to that song. But this segment, it may be inspirational song or poem. So we may change it around. So thus, since I don't have a song, I have a poem that I can read you about Seeds of Kindness. So here's kind of the new segment, inspirational poem. Seeds of Kindness. If you plant one seed of kindness, you may never know how big that tree will get or where it may be sown. What I do know is what you plant will always come back to you. So keep planting those seeds of kindness and make it many and not few. So that is the poem, Seeds of Kindness. Hope you like it. Let me know what you think of that, and let me know what you think of the song that I recommended for you to listen. All right, next is our other segment, Tips for Life. The main tip is to be a nice person, because you never know what's in your future. Or, for example, you may be genuinely nice, because we always want to operate with genuine intentions. We don't want to be fake about things. You may be genuinely nice to someone or kind to someone, and years later, you may meet them. Maybe they have to make a decision about something that you need. Maybe somewhere that you're staying, maybe a job, something like that. And because you were nice to them and they remembered, if it's within their power, I'm sure they would help you with whatever it is that you want. So it pays to be nice, even sometimes to people who don't deserve it. That is tough. It's very tough. I don't like rude people. So it's tough for me to be nice to people, especially if they're being very rude. But we have to try, and it's not to say that we're gonna succeed every time, because we probably aren't. But if we try, and most of the time we are at least kind, or try to be respectful to the other person, then things will work out. And honestly, being human, sometimes it may start out where we are kind of giving them back the energy that they're giving us. We're like, who are you? Why do you think you can speak to me that way? But at some point, then we have to just check ourselves, calm ourselves down, because if two people are screaming or arguing back and forth, nothing good is going to come from that. Neither person is listening to the other person at that point. Thus, it's better to just check yourself, calm down, and be like, whatever it is, maybe, hey, I'm sorry you feel that way. Or, it seems like we're not gonna, at this point, we're not going to be able to work this out. Possibly another time we can come back and try to discuss this more calmly. But for now, have a wonderful day. So sometimes you may just have to do that. Cut things off and keep things moving. Be amicable and respectful, even to the people who don't deserve it. Another great thing that I think is good for us to do is to volunteer. Go to different places, and whatever your interest is. If you love animals, you can go volunteer at an animal shelter. If you love kids, I really want to find a orphanage or something like that, where I could go volunteer, talk to the kids, play games with the kids, something like that. I used to volunteer at this place, Give Kids the World, and that was really, really great. What it is, it's a place where kids with life-threatening illnesses, when they get their wish granted from, what's the name of that organization? I just had it in my head. They would get a wish granted from some organization. I can't remember what it is right now. And let's say they wanted to go to Disney or Universal, something like that, then they would stay at this place, them and their families. and it was all volunteer based. It's really a beautiful, wonderful place, and it's all volunteer based. So at first I started out in the game room playing games with the kids and everything like that. But then they had a train that would drive around and pick the families up from their hotel rooms and take them around the property, whether to go eat or to the front of the house so that they can catch their taxi to go somewhere. So then I ended up driving the train, and I really loved that. That was so much fun. I would love to do that again. So I have to look into that. So volunteering is pretty cool. I had a friend, and she had that heart of giving back. And on one of her birthdays, she invited all of her friends, and we went to a food pantry, and we were packing food up at this food pantry. And that was so cool. So you could do something like that to get a group of friends and y'all go volunteer at a food pantry. I volunteered with Habitat for Humanity, painting houses and things like that. There's a lot of opportunity out there where you could volunteer, so you could look into something like that. The Salvation Army as well. Every year, they have their angel tree, and that's pretty fun, and you could volunteer with that. Or I'm sure possibly throughout the year they have opportunities where you can volunteer with them too. So look into some volunteering opportunities. Also, pay attention to your surroundings. There's always some kind of opportunity where you can be kind or be helpful, even sometimes if it's just a compliment. I love complimenting people. I will see people and I will just tell them, hey, I love your hair. Or, I really love telling people they're beautiful, different things like that. Sometimes when you give people a compliment, especially if it's the same sex, then maybe in your mind you might think like, oh, they might think I'm gay or something. But whatever. As I said, just do everything from your heart and with good intentions. And most of the time it will be received openly. With the homeless, even if you don't have money or you can't do anything for them, even just smiling and acknowledging them or saying hello, sometimes it's such a small thing, but it could mean the world to them. Because most people, unfortunately, maybe they just don't want to be bothered, so then they pretend that they're on their phone, or they just keep their vision straight because they don't want to be bothered by the homeless person. But I mean, sometimes I don't have anything to give them, but I at least look at them. I nod at them, I acknowledge them. I mean, and it just makes me feel emotional. But imagine you're a person out there and you're struggling, and you can't even get somebody to look at you or to say hello to you. How low must they feel for people to just ignore them and not even acknowledge them being there, like they're invisible? Imagine how you would feel if you're standing there and somebody just ignored you. It's not right. They're a human being still. They're a human being, so I never want anybody to feel like they're insignificant, because we all have significance in our life. We're all meant to be here, of course. That's why we're here. And we all have significance in this life, no matter where our status is. So you can pay attention to your surroundings and help someone out, even if it's just saying hello, just buying them something to eat, just talking to them for a little bit. It could make a world of a difference. All right. And let's close things up. So, as we talked about, being kind, it doesn't have to be extravagant. It could be something simple as a compliment or just chatting to someone for a little bit. Sometimes the smallest things just make the biggest impact. I've gone and I've bought flowers and I've given people just a simple flower, and most people really appreciate it. Some people are cynical. I remember one time I tried to give this lady a flower and she was wondering what I was doing and she didn't accept it, and that made me feel a little kind of way that she didn't accept it. But then it was meant for somebody else, because when I gave it to the other person, their day turned around, because at first they weren't, I said hello and they weren't really paying attention to what I had in my hand or anything like that. They were just kind of preoccupied. And when they looked and they saw I had this flower and I was giving it to them, their whole demeanor changed. So also don't worry about being rejected, because that just means it's for someone else, right? So don't make that person impact on you and ruin your entire day. Just sometimes give them grace, because maybe something really crazy is happening in their life. So give them grace and just know that, hey, your kind gesture or your compliment or something is probably meant for someone else. Pay attention to your surroundings and do your best to not ignore the homeless. It's okay. You can talk to them. They're a human. You can talk to them just like a human. If they happen to ask you for money, hey, I don't have cash on me, but I really hope that your day gets better, or that you do find some cash for whatever it is that the food or whatever you would like to purchase. Or if you can, buy them something to eat. If they're willing, you can ask them, hey, would you like something to eat? And if they're willing, you can buy them some food. You could be kind. Right? And extend mercy even when people don't deserve it, even though it's hard. But try your best, because God gives us mercy every day. As the songs and the scriptures say, His mercy is renewed every day. And a lot of times we receive good gifts from God that we don't deserve. We don't deserve them. But still, God is loving and kind enough still to give them to us. So let us extend that kindness and that mercy to others as well. Otherwise, I hope that this inspired you in some way. And I appreciate you tuning in and staying with me. I am, as I said, I am just going through, because I feel that I am called to inspire people. I love inspiring people. I just want to make people's day a little brighter. And I hope something from this episode helped you out today. It's not perfect. It's not polished. And that's okay, because I'm not perfect. Right? But I show up. That's my determination, is to show up. And that's what I did. So I thank you so much for everything. Thank you for joining me today. And you can follow me on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok at Makita Benjamin. On Facebook, I'm Makita Benjamin Official. And you can send me a message. Let me know if anything I said today inspired you, or let me know what you do to spread kindness around your community. You can check out my website, makitabenjamin.com, and I have a couple of books and other resources on there. So if something piques your fancy, then you can pick it up. Otherwise, I'm also available for speaking. If you have an event in the Central Florida area or somewhere else that I can travel to, then let me know and we can see what happens there. Thank you so much. I hope you have an amazing day. And remember, it's your dream. Live it. Much love. All right, and here we go. Seeds of kindness. If you plant one seed of kindness, you may never know how big that tree will get, or where it may be sown. Let's rewind.